Hey everyone, welcome to r/entitled people, where some think the world revolves around them and nothing else matters. I'm Uncle Reddit, and have I got some stories for you. Karen doesn't like my son using her potty in an emergency. I was told I should post this here. I was going into our local mart to get some things, and my 3-year-old son says to me as soon as we get out of the car, "Daddy, I have to poo-poo." I said, "Okay, let's get inside. There's bathrooms next to customer service." When we got in, he was literally duck walking. He was trying to hold it in. The men's side of the bathrooms was closed due to construction, and the only other bathroom in the store was in the back. If you've ever been to one of the big boxes, it feels like it's a mile away from the front if you're holding it. I asked my son if he could make it to the back, though obviously he couldn't and said as much. As a note, he'd been diaper-free for close to 2 months at this point, and never had an accident. I wasn't about to let it happen in public. The women's bathroom was open, and at the time empty. I took him in, keeping my eyes on the floor so as not to give off a creep vibe. I went into the stall with him, let him do his business, and helped him clean up. As I came out of the stall with him, I had been talking to him so it wasn't any secret I was in there. Some woman in her late 50s or 60s had such a CBF that I was surprised she didn't squeeze her brain out of her nose. CBF. "You can't be in here." Me. "Obviously I can. I'm here and my son had a toilet emergent." Apparently, acquiescence is all she wanted. CBF. "No, you can't be in here. It's disgusting. He can't be in here." Me, trying to be reasonable. "The other bathroom is at the back of the store. He's 3, and I'm not going to have him messing himself just because you're uncomfortable with a 3-year-old and his father in your mart sanctuary." I didn't think she could lemon face any harder, but she succeeded. CBF. "You're not allowed in here. I'm calling the police." Me. "Go ahead. I'll explain it to them. Until then, F off." She huffed and walked out quickly. I was surprised that it wasn't faster with the amount of air the expression on her face was sucking in. My son heard the whole exchange and asked, "Daddy, am I in trouble?" as we were walking out. We had to walk past customer service, and lo and behold, there was the crusty old bee complaining about us to the customer service rep, who looked like she'd had a bit much of this woman. I said to him, and yes, I used profanity. I explained it to him shortly after about adult words, etc., so no pearl clutching, please. "No, son, you're not in trouble. Some old witch can't seem to get over the fact that you do what you have to in an emergency, and I didn't want you messing yourself." This was said within earshot of both the woman and the rep, while I held eye contact with CBF and emphasized the capitalized words above as we slowly walked by. The customer service rep grinned while the old bat wasn't looking, and the woman stormed out like I had just ate her firstborn in front of her. She never called the police. The moral of this story is, do what you have to in the moment. It doesn't make you a creep unless your intention is to do so. Yep, I totally get it. I've had my own little kids, and sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. Old biddies be darned. A short tale of entitlement. I get the bus into work every day, usually fairly early, around 7:40. This bus runs one of the most traveled routes through my town and is always packed, despite the fact that they have one bus of this service about every 7 to 10 minutes. So as usual, I'm at my stop, headphones on, listening to some music as the bus arrives. I get on, show my pass from my phone, and make my way through the packed aisle until I find a place where I can stand and not be too much of a problem for other passengers. It's always overcrowded on these services, and no one has a comfortable journey, but generally people just try their best to be accommodating. On this day, however, things were different. We get to a stop close to the center of town. The bus goes into town and then out the other side. My place of work is a few stops out the other side of the town center, and people get off. People get on. Usually at this point we just continue to the next stop, but I notice that the bus isn't moving, and look down the aisle to see a wild Karen having a meltdown at the driver. So I take off my headphones so I can hear the hilarity. It's probably worth noting that the Karen had her kid with her in a pushchair, that there was absolutely zero chance of getting on the bus as it was standing room only. Karen: "I have to go to," name of place, "now." Driver: "Sorry, but the bus is full, so you'll have to wait for the next one." Karen: literally screams as loud as she can, then shouts at the driver, "Then you have to make people get off the bus. I have a child and need to get to name of place." Driver, "No ma'am, the bus is full and all these people have paid. You have to wait for the next service." Karen spits. What is it that makes people think that spitting at someone is acceptable? And calls the driver a racist name. Driver looks at her, picks up his phone, and while maintaining eye contact with the Karen, calls the police to report a racially motivated attack. At this point, the Karen starts trying to backpedal and claim that he's overreacting, and that she is being discriminated against because she's a mother. Everyone else in the bus is just staring at her with a look of total contempt. At which point, the next driver arrived and swapped with our driver at about the same time the police arrived, so we just carried on with the trip, while the Karen was being spoken to by a police officer. I never found out what happened to her, but I do hope the driver pressed charges. Dude, you are correct. I'm not sure where people get the idea that spitting... I'd rather get punched in the face than spit on. Spitting is just nasty, gross, germy. Just one of the lowest things you can do to somebody. Ugh. Entitled neighbor. A woman moved into my condo building a few months ago. I haven't talked to her yet. At the recent condo meeting, she got up and told the entire building that she's pregnant. She has made requests for parking spots very close to the entrance. She has picked 4 that are suitable, one of them being mine. All spots are deeded to each unit. She has requested that neighbors help her with chores, which include putting her daily garbage in the dumpster, cleaning her kitty litter, carrying groceries inside the building from her car, and all other heavy items. To help with these chores, she wrote down unit numbers and a few names that she knows, and said, "Everyone please record your phone numbers beside your unit along with your name." As we were leaving, she was getting mad that most of us weren't jumping at the chance to help her. The sign-up sheet is now in the lobby where it says, "You are my village. Help raise my child." Holy cow. You chose to get pregnant. You chose where to live. You take care of it. Where's baby daddy? Somebody else, family member, pay somebody. Asking your neighbors, raise your child. Entitled woman says I'm not allowed to buy my medication and then tries to assault me. This happened on Saturday. Me and my friend Elle were at the drugstore to get my medication for my hormone disorder. My disorder is caused by a polycystic ovarian syndrome. It causes me to overproduce male hormones, androgen to be exact, and it makes me look and sound much more masculine than I should be. That day went to complete crud really fast. Cast, me equals me, of course, Elle, my friend, EW, entitled woman. So me and Elle are at the drugstore and I put my prescription form on the counter and the employee came over. He took the form and typed some stuff on the computer for a couple minutes before coming over and gave me my prescription. That's when this woman, EW, came up behind us and started talking to me. EW, "What do you think you're doing?" Me, what? EW, "You're not allowed to buy birth control." I have to buy birth control to raise my estrogen levels. Me, "I have to take these for my hormone disorder." EW, "No you don't, you're just being a little slut." Me, "What are you talking about?" EW, "You and him are gonna go do it. You're not using it for any kind of hormone problem." We looked at each other and started to laugh. EW, "Why are you laughing?" Me, "Yeah, sure, the gay 27-year-old guy is gonna go do it with a 16-year-old girl." We laughed for a little longer and EW kept yelling at us. EW then tried to take the birth control from me. Me, "Get away from me." L, "If you try and touch her again, you won't like the outcome." EW, "No, give that to me right now." She tried to grab it from me again, and L pushed her away. EW, "How dare you touch me?" She then pushed L out of the way and went to slap me. Big mistake. L has always been overprotective of his friends, and doesn't take crud from anyone who tries to hurt them. So when EW raised her hand to slap me, he threw his arm back and full force nailed her right in the face. She fell down and started screaming. EW, "What the heck is wrong with you?" L, "I said if you try to touch her again, you won't like the outcome, but you didn't listen." We began to walk away, and that's when EW got up and screamed at us some more. EW, "I'm calling the police for assault." L, "Go ahead. You tried to assault my friend and I protected her. And if you try to lie, there's cameras everywhere, and I'm pretty sure the employee over there will tell the truth." We all looked at the employee, and he looked shocked at what was happening. He just gave Elle a thumbs up and nodded. EW was screaming at us that I was a slut, and that Elle was abusive pedophile, and a load of other crap. We walked away, paid for my medication, and left. The police never came to either of our houses. Aunt feels entitled to my mom's address. Some background. My father has never really been involved in my or any of my other female siblings' lives, just there in the background. I am one of 5 children, 4 girls and my brother. My 2 older sisters married military guys and moved away while I joined the military and got a top secret SCI clearance, the highest clearance. About 10 years or so ago, my father was arrested and pled guilty to bad stuff on his computer. He straight up screwed up all our lives at once. The ones who still lived in town had to deal with the looks and such, and my poor mother was left to deal with the aftermath, and is still dealing with harassment to this day. For me in particular, I was looking at being able to get a good government job making around $100K a year or more, since I would have a TS/SCI clearance. But with the chance of some sort of blackmail or such due to my father's prison sentence, they wouldn't be willing to renew my clearance. Thus, my government job chances also vanished. They may have changed the rules by now, but then it was that they didn't want there to be any chance of, say, foreign governments blackmailing you or such over such things. Anywho, on to the story that brought me here. About a month ago, I received a friend request and Facebook message from my father's sister. I'll call her Elle. So Elle says she is looking to reconnect with my family, and that I'm the first one to accept her friend request. She also sent requests to all my siblings, my mother, and my husband even, who'd never met her. She tells me she's been looking for us for a while. Also of note because my siblings, mother, and such have been on Facebook for a good long while, even since it came out really, so how hard could she really have been looking? A day later, she's asking me for my mother's new address. My mother had moved a few times by now. I tell her I'll talk to my mother and get back to her. This repeats every couple of days or so, then she lays on me that my nephew died and wanted to let us know, no further details. I look into it because, yeah, I want to know when and how. Turns out it happened 3 months before, which sets off my red flags a bit, but I let all related know and send them the obit just in case she's trying something. I am very leery of people. Too many times they want something. She then lays on me that my father is supposed to be getting out of jail in April. Now I start thinking this woman wants to dump him off on my poor mother so he won't have to move back into the family home. Now, my father had always been emotionally abusive to my mother, making her out to be useless and unable to do anything without him. So the past few years we've been working on showing her that she can in fact do okay without him in her life, and she is just now beginning to enjoy her freedom. Now, on Valentine's Day, Elle reaches out to me again and is harassing me for my mother's address, saying it's very important that she gets it soon. Now, I've talked to my mother and let her know I will not give out her info without her consent. The day before, she posted a lengthy post on my Facebook page that was basically a boo-hoo, poor pitiful me post. Not once had she asked me about my family or how we were doing, only messaged me to ask for the address over and over again. So being in a craptastic mood already, then seeing the post on my Facebook page for everyone to see and the message, I messaged her back and unloaded on her, letting her know that I would not be giving her the new address, and after the way he messed up all our lives, that we did not owe that man anything, and that my mother deserved her privacy. I would not tell her jack unless my mother said it was okay first. Then I blocked her. 4 hours later, she has the nerve to message my husband, saying that I blocked her, and she thinks that my behavior was childish and catty, and that her family took mine in twice when needed, and that she's had more practice being catty. She also said that his side of the family had been embarrassed for a while as well. She also stated that my mother had to talk to my father because they're married. Now, to my husband's credit, he told her to F off, and that my dad was uninvolved most of my life, and now that she's popped up 20-some years later with this stuff. And then after he replied, he also blocked her. To clarify, it was my grandfather we stayed with the one time I can remember us staying with my father's family. She was also staying in the house when we were. In talking to my sister, I came to find out that she had in fact contacted my younger sister before me and had been selling some sob story and was wanting money from her. She got a hold of her actual phone number and was messaging her upwards of 4 times a day. My sister had to block her. I warned the rest of my siblings about what was going on so they could avoid the crazy. My children don't even know my father exists. As far as they know, my father is dead, and so it will remain. Apparently, she is entitled to know my mother's address so she can pawn my father off on her, and we owe her something for staying with my grandfather well on 20 years ago, and apparently our sympathy and money as well. Feels good to get this off my chest. Alright folks, that's all the stories we have for you today. If you like our content, please consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Have a great day.